Greetings, Dragon Ball fans, and welcome to another What If. This time around, we will have a look at what would happen if Kami had followed in King Piccolo's footsteps and dropped a few eggs of his own. When Kami watched Kid Goku in his final battle with King Piccolo, he had felt in his chest the final hit that the young boy had delivered to the Guardian's other half. He had, in that instant, resigned himself to his impending death, and found nothing but regret. Regret for his need to separate himself all those years ago. Regrets that he hadn't been able to do more to stem King Piccolo's evil after that selfish and desperate act. Regrets that he had yet to locate a suitable replacement for the position of Guardian of Earth. When the now eternally youthful but still dying King Piccolo pushes his very soul into a new egg to succeed him, Kami had actually breathed a sigh of relief. Two seeds had taken root in his mind at that moment. One was for Goku to succeed him as Guardian, and the other, deeper, not even at a conscious level, is the cause of this very what-if. He had taken to training the boy Goku with the hopes of molding him into the role he had long held, but after the 23rd World Martial Arts Tournament wrapped up, Kami's offer was thrown back in his face. No way does the young and recently engaged Goku want to cast all that aside for a job, so Kami has failed once again to procure his replacement. I wonder why Chi-Chi didn't speak up then. Being married to Earth's Guardian, effectively the god of the planet, surely comes with perks, and maybe even staff, even if it is a slightly more than full-time position. And this woman does like a working man, though, doesn't she? Once back at the lookout, Kami is considering his options when a memory comes to him. King Piccolo's son and heir, Piccolo Jr., but also his other, somewhat deformed offspring, piano, tambourine, cymbal, and drum. They weren't replacements like Piccolo. They were relatively normal children, all possessing various portions of King Piccolo's will, knowledge, and power. While Goku is off having fun and a son with his new wife, Kami sets about his task. His first two children must be protectors, warriors. Fujin, named for the god of the raging wind, and Raijin, or Raiden if you don't mind mixing your franchises, since he's based on the Japanese god of thunder. True to their Japanese lore, they will be brothers in arms, who each having different parts of Kami's fighting knowledge and power, can and will train relentlessly with each other. By the time Goku is taking little Gohan to meet the Z-Fighters at Kame House, Kami has a total of 4 children. Having recovered from the exertion of producing those first 2 eggs in such quick succession, he produces one, then after a longer break, another. Ryujin, dragon god of the sea, and Sujin, god of water, are, unlike their rapidly maturing siblings, both of the slow-growing Dragon Clan variety. The dynamic duo of wind and thunder are eager to meet this Goku fellow that Kami has spoken so frequently of, so, with the permission of their father, the pair take their leave of the lookout and arrive at Kame House, to the collective gasps of all gathered there. 2 Piccolos? Oh dear God, no, they're multiplying! The pair quickly introduces themselves as Kami's children, the warrior brothers, Fujin and Raijin. Raijin? Raging? That's got to be a pun of some sort. Goku is thoroughly impressed with what power he can feel within them, combined with the utter lack of malice. They'll make amazing sparring partners. However, their happy introductions are cut short when a strange, long-haired man appears. He expounds briefly about himself and Kakarot being brothers, and that they, both Kakarot and the boy, should come with him to meet Vegeta, their prince. Are we just going to ignore the fact that Raditz only brought 1 pod? A pod he can barely fit in, what with all that hair? Yes, let's do that. Goku refuses, Krillin gets tail-whipped, and then Gohan gets nicked. The 2, apparently Namekians, are also put firmly in their place. Besides, this was all too much too fast. They were already a bit off balance, having never left the relative safety of the lookout, and now all of this? Wow, the world below is such a busy and interesting place. When they have all recovered, Raditz is long gone, having given Kakarot a day to prove himself before meeting up and heading out. Somehow all squeezing into that 1 pod? Yeah, I know, I thought we were glossing over that minor detail. Before they leave, though, they sense movement above them and look up to see Piccolo, who had come to watch what that odd but terrifyingly powerful man was doing. He was absolutely not expecting to meet Fujin and Raijin. Who are you? How are you? Why are you? After recapping, Goku, Fujin, and Raijin ask the angry and confused-looking Piccolo if he'll accompany them, and pushing the discomfort aside, they all head off to face this Raditz guy. Raditz thinks that they've changed their mind very quickly, which is great, but why bring the Nameks? They're useless weight. Just kill them, Kakarot. Goku instead tangles with Raditz alone for a bit, as his Saiyan nature wants to test himself properly against this incredibly powerful opponent. When little Gohan sees his father getting beat on, he has his requisite rage moment, bursting out of the pod and barreling into the fight. Raditz's armor is now damaged, and with 2 of the 3 green men now moving toward him as well, he is suddenly feeling just a little bit in over his head. He now decides to go all out, and manages to take Raijin out of the fight, if not actually kill him. Similar conversations occur as they continue to engage the Saiyan. Dragonballs are mentioned, and Piccolo, seeing that Raditz's defenses are just too strong, breaks out the attack he had been working on to finally beat Goku. Having help holding down Raditz does little to save Goku's life, unfortunately, and he and his brother both perish to the Makan Kosopo, with Goku's body vanishing to the other world for Goku to train up. The others arrive and get to overhear the 2 Saiyans talking about coming to Earth. Having seen some of Gohan's explosive strength, Piccolo still wants to take the boy to train him, but is stopped by Fujin and his recovering sibling. He has potential, yes, but he's just a child. They welcome their, brother to train him with them, as they prepare for the arrival of those other Saiyans. Chi-Chi is not at all pleased. Goku's dead? And you want to take her boy away from her? She is mollified by the almost unnerving calm of the Wind God's assurance. They will stay nearby and work carefully to make sure he is brought up to speed without too much impact on his book learning. While Gohan's training is less intense here, it is much more robust, given the number of people and their less brutal tactics. Piccolo's initial rejection of their offer also does not last. They are not overly surprised when, a few weeks later, he arrives and wordlessly mucks in with them, as if he'd been there the whole time. The pair of warriors have come a long way since leaving Kami's lookout, even in the few weeks since they last met their, uncle? Having to train the new and unknown quantity of little Gohan has proven very beneficial for them both as they re-evaluate their methods. By the time Piccolo joins them, he is lagging behind by a decent amount. Much to Piccolo's irritation, the brothers soon start to re-engage more with their father, Kami, and the other Z-fighters, currently suffering away under Popo's unmentionable training. Gohan, meanwhile, is getting a very well-rounded martial education. He even ventures into the mystic training room and meets those ancient Saiyans, along with his trio of green-skinned mentors. Piccolo is further befuddled to meet the still young Ryujin and Sujin. Sujin? God, I gotta learn how to pronounce that. At the lookout. They are both very much still children, and are quite afraid of him, but he can't quite help but feel a certain kinship with them. They'll certainly make nice minions one day when all these interloping Saiyans are dealt with. When those Saiyans arrive, East City still has its worst day ever. They then head off to encounter the gathered fighters. Originally Piccolo was about 3,500 at this time, but now he's just below 4,000, as are Fujin and Raijin, by the way, having worked to catch Piccolo up while Gohan had his promised downtime. With the broader training, Gohan has more than made up the difference as well, at around 1,200, and the Z-fighters are all ever so slightly higher to match, having sparred with at least 2 of the 3 available Namekians. Krillin is coming in at around 2,200, Tien is at 2,400, Yamcha is sitting pretty at 1,800, and Chaozu brings up the rear in the upper reaches of 800. This overall slight improvement poses a couple of problems for the Saiyans. The Cybermen, for instance, are much less successful. Yamcha, for one, does not get exploded, at least not to death, and the group makes quick work of the remaining green abominations. When it's Nappa's turn to play, Chaozu again tries to blow himself up before Tien can be killed. When the Triclops then one-hand tri-beams the brute, it really hurts. In a rage, Nappa goes to make sure that the passed-out Tien is in fact dead, when Raijin steps in the way, deflecting the attack. Now properly angered, Nappa goes all out. He is toe-to-toe with first one green teenage-looking fellow, then another. When he tries to distract by attacking the seemingly weakest link, Gohan, the blast is blocked, not only by Piccolo, but by both him and Fujin. They share the blast, deflecting it away. While they both are injured and collapse, neither of them have died. Gohan, of course, doesn't know this, and gets a bit mad. Unfortunately, his more filled-out training has given him better awareness, so has also taken an edge off of his rage. On the other hand, being far more aware of himself and his surroundings, he is much less prone to locking up. for a 5-year-old. Goku arrives to see Nappa being engulfed in Gohan's Masenko, but surviving. He also sees Piccolo and Fujin on the ground with the massive scorch mark in front of them, and does the math. After giving them each half of the one senzu bean he'd brought with him, he takes over the fight. Nappa is of course discarded at Vegeta's feet and gets ghost-napped. Goku vs. Vegeta goes down mostly as you'd expect. Kaiowatits is yelled a lot, a spirit bomb is passed around, a powerball provides blitz waves, and a couple of people go ape, and tails are eventually sliced off. While Vegeta is in his Ozaru form, Piccolo, seeing Goku getting absolutely wrecked, intervenes with his own massive form, much to the shock of his warrior clanmates. But for one thing, it hurts like a lot. It hurts a lot. And he's just nowhere near strong enough to do anything beyond distract. Reijin and Fujin are currently taking notes, though. The Spirit Bomb could also be passed to Krillin or either of the two Namekians. It's not like they have much else to do in this fight, but the end result is likely the same. Goku, being Goku, asks them to spare Vegeta. Piccolo is of course having none of it, but is stopped by Reijin, who says that this is not their way. So Vegeta escapes in his pod and heads off to get healed up. The Dragon Gang then gather the wounded at the hospital. Kami, who's still alive, offers to summon Shenron as soon as possible to revive Tien, but he calls down from the check-in station. They will instead head to King Kai's planet together, and when Chaozu is revived, only then is Tien willing to come back too. The ancient Namekian ship is introduced, and the Briefs family sets to work on examining it. They don't need to waste as much time, though, as they now have not only Kami himself, but a whole cornucopia of Namekians to help them. So, who goes to Namek? With the numerous Namekians around, Bulma doesn't need to, let alone want to. Chi-Chi is shouting up and down about not letting Gohan go, though the boy is arguing quite coherently about how he wants to help Mr. Tien and Chaozu come back. Yamcha, of course, will stay right where he is, to protect Bulma. Krillin is happy to go. His apprehension at a planet full of Piccolos has long since been quelled, both by meeting Reijin and Fujin, and the time training at the lookout, around Kami, Ryujin, and Sujin. Fujin and Reijin are of course itching to go. Even Kami would have certainly gone, if his duties had not held him here on Earth. So, having some of his will in them, they in turn are much more inclined to travel there. The children, Ryujin and Sujin, are eager to go as well, but they're barely 3 years old at this point, much too young to go gallivanting around the cosmos. On hearing this, Gohan's argument collapses. Chi-Chi absolutely puts her foot down. If it's too dangerous for them, it's too dangerous for her precious little boy. Piccolo is also curious to go there, so this would mean all 3 of Earth's warrior Namekians would end up there. But with power levels at the low end of 4,000, what good will it accomplish? I think the ideal contingent will be the trio de Verre, Reijin, Fujin, and Piccolo, along with Krillin. Bulma gives them one of the radars, and they board the ship. So what awaits these slightly earlier arrivals on Namek? They're not sitting too pretty, as we all know what waits them at their destination. Though I think it's safe to say that there will be no fake Namek. Or at least a very brief one, given their current crew list. Find out what happens next time on Dragon Ball. What if Kami had kids?